Welcome back to the channel, guys. As I said, I have a big announcement here for you guys today, and it's a pretty important one, something I'm really excited to finally share with you guys, something that I think you guys are going to like quite a lot, and that is that me and Walking Visions have finally released Volume 1 of our realistic Madden 20 ratings roster here on Madden 19. Now, what this allows you guys to do is, since all the rookies are they just finished drafting, some AAF players signed with some teams, a lot of undrafted free agents signed with teams. What this does is this roster allows you guys to play with the rookies, essentially playing Madden 20 here on Madden 19, or at least get a taste of what those players are going to be like. Now, the reason why I'm really excited for this is because we put a lot of detail into this, a lot more detail than all the other rosters that are out there. Any of the rosters that you see out there, you're going to see fake Le'Veon Bells, you're going to see players on teams that they shouldn't be, players that are cut that shouldn't be, you're going to see all types of errors and everything like that. I'm not saying that this roster is foolproof. I'm willing and open for you guys to message me and let me know if I need to make any changes to it or edit any player overalls. We are certainly able to have a discussion on that. But the important part about this is, as my description reads over there, is that this is a realistic Madden 20 roster based off of PFF grades, NFL.com grades, NFL.com scouting grades, and projected 20 Madden ratings that we found online on multiple sources. So these ratings are extremely, extremely realistic compared to what Madden already has it and any of the other rosters that are out there. So that's the thing that I pride myself on the most, is that I went through and did all the ratings. I created the rookies, and we have all 7 rounds of the rookies in there, plus some AAF players. I added Colin Kaepernick in there, and then a total equipment overhaul is going to be coming from Walking Visions. The roster's in his hands right now. It is out there, though, with all the players and all of the ratings updated. So I'm going to roster and show you guys exactly what I mean by why this roster is so much more realistic than what's already out there. So just give me a breather for a second. If we go ahead and hop into the roster, I have a whole bunch of notes here that I want to go through for you guys. So the important thing is that all of these ratings are based off of realistic grades, PFF grades, NFL.com scouting grades, and everything like that. So no bullshit grades, no overinflated rookie ratings, nothing like that. No 85 overall rookies and bullshit like that. It is essentially what the ratings should be. And the first thing I want to show to you guys is that we re-rank positions. So first and foremost, you can look at the quarterbacks easily off the top and see Tom Brady number 1. As much as I hate Tom Brady number 1 at a 99, Aaron Rodgers at a 98, Breeze at a 97, Wilson at a 96. Now, you might disagree with these, but they're at least more realistic than what the game gives you, because the game gives you Russell Wilson at like an 89, Ben Roethlisberger at an 86, but you're talking about guys that were in the top 5 in passing yards and passing touchdowns and all these different categories and have 14 or more years of experience at elite level play backing up their stats, and Madden suddenly drops them to an 86 after they lead the league in passing yards. So that's why the ratings on all the rosters that are out there aren't correct, and we re-ranked all these players. As you guys will see, we've shown a lot of respect to some players that deserve it that Madden doesn't, that Madden continues to disrespect certain players like Deshaun Watson, who's had over 100 QBR every season that he's been in the league. Jared Goff, the same, 100 QBR for the past 2 years. And we've done that for a lot of quarterbacks. We've buffed Baker Mayfield and everything like that. And then we did the same with halfbacks. They, for whatever reason, like to disrespect halfbacks. They don't give anybody better than a 95 or a 96. So we bumped Todd Gurley up to a 99 and re-ranked the halfbacks based off of gradings and based off of history and based off of things like, for example, Le'Veon Bell got a slight decrease because he's been out of the league for a year. So there's a lot of logic and a lot of stats and a lot of data that's put into these things. Now, there are players like Le'Veon Bell in this roster that you're going to have to put on the right team yourself. But if you want a realistic roster, that's how you're going to do it. Because a lot of other people out there create a fake Le'Veon Bell, and then, that's just not realistic. You don't have the picture for the player, you don't have the correct equipment and everything like that. What we do is we tell you simply, All you have to do if you want to play on the realistic roster, you start the league without injuries on, you move Le'Veon Bell to punter, and then you trade for him for a 7th round pick and put him on the team that he needs to be on. Very simple, very easy, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, super easy and super straightforward. Now, some of the other things that I'm really excited to show you guys about this is that there's actually viable backups in this game mode. And what you'll see is that we've re-ranked guys like fullbacks. There are some fullbacks in this game that are actually really good players. Guys like Kyle Juszczyk, who's by far and away the best fullback in the game. James Devlin, who is a very good fullback and is heavily used in the Patriots scheme. Same with Roosevelt Nix. Guys like Patrick Ricard, Patrick DeMarco, Anthony Sherman, Zach Line, and Aaron Rukowski. Guys that are actually used in their offenses have been re-ranked, and so fullbacks are actually viable in this roster. The best fullback prior to this was an 85 in Kyle Juszczyk, and then the best fullback after that was James Devlin at like a 75. And so we went through and re-ranked every single fullback and gave them grades, gave them ratings based on what they should actually be. And then another thing that's really exciting is that backups have been re-ranked and made to be actually viable in this game. So if you go ahead and look at a team like the Chiefs, Chad Henne, a guy that's been a very solid, quarterback that at times has started in the NFL, is a viable backup quarterback in our roster. We made him a 75, and you can scroll through any of the teams and see stuff like that. Jacoby Brissett is where he is, and a lot of it's going to be based dependent on, how many years they have in the league, whether they've been a starting quarterback before, like Matt Schaub. The game doesn't give him any respect. He's like a 65 with like 80 throw power, which is ridiculous. He's a good backup quarterback that was a really good starting quarterback at one point in his career. So we gave him a rating that he deserves, around a 74. Players like CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins get disrespected in the roster. Kyle Lauletta. And as you can see, no hyperinflated rookie ratings. I know a lot of people might cry about this, but Daniel Jones is not a highly rated quarterback. He didn't do a whole lot in college, so he's going to be a 71. He was overdrafted, so until he proves himself, that's the rating that he deserves, and that's what we're saying. These are realistic ratings, and that's why we're pretty proud of these things, guys like Trevor Siemian and whatnot. So let me go look at my notes real quick. I did add Colin Kaepernick. I'm not entirely sure how accurate it is. I did my best with him. Where is he at? He might not even be... You know what? I might not have cut him from the team that he was on. I want to say that it was on the Rams, so I'm going to have to cut him off the Rams. Or not. I'm confused. Real quick, let me look. Yeah, I got to cut him off the Rams, but we added in Colin Kaepernick. As you can see, at a 74 overall, just to have that realism, because there have been rumors floating out around there that if somebody was willing to pay him a contract, they would bring him in. And he looks decently like he would in real life. So we tried to put in the detail and make the faces look correct. And then we tried to put in the detail for at least the first and second round rookies and make them look correct, and not hyperinflate their ratings the way that some of the other rosters that are out there do. And then in terms of other things, we re-ranked and made a lot of the best starting and backup offensive linemen viable. So teams that you'll see that have really good backup offensive linemen, teams like the Patriots and the Steelers, that have really good offensive line coaches and really good offensive line mentors and everything like that, they're going to have decent offensive line rankings. And then there's going to be guys that, are really good starters in the league that the roster doesn't give respect to, that we have to upgrade, guys like Matt Filer. And then if I go to other teams, if I go to like the Seahawks, for example, I know that the game doesn't like to respect Dwayne Brown, but he is still one of the better tackles in the league. So we give him the appropriate rating based off of his PFF grade, and so on and so forth. So offensive linemen are re-ranked. There are viable backup offensive linemen. Backup offensive linemen aren't all, a 60 overall or something like that. There are actual viable backup offensive linemen throughout the entirety of the roster. The other things that I wanted to take note of in here is that we reduced overalls for non-producing players. So if you look at wide receivers like Paul Richardson, Josh Doxson, and even, receivers like on the Jaguars, none of their receivers did particularly good. Keelan Cole, D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee. While these players are talented players, whenever they do get the ball in their hands, they have been extremely underproducers for multiple seasons, and unless guys have a good production record, they're going to get decreased overalls, because that's what's realistic. We're doing this realistic. We're taking down ratings for players that don't deserve it. And one of the biggest ones in this game that a lot of people don't think about is Tyler Eifert. Tyler Eifert, the game gives an 89 overall to, and we all get it. Me and Walking Visions get it, but we talked about this. He's not an 89 overall. He doesn't deserve it. He has had like one good season 5 years ago and has been injured ever since. So how does he deserve an 89 rating when there's guys out there that are catching more balls than him, catching more yards and catching more touchdowns, that don't get the same type of respect? Hell, Jake Butt has had more yardage and better stats than Tyler Eifert has in the past few years, because Tyler Eifert hasn't played. So certain players deserve better ratings based on whether they've produced or not. And if they don't produce, then they deserve to get their ratings taken down. Like I said, no artificial ratings, no overinflated ratings in this roster. That's extremely important to us. Like I said, all rookies rounds 1 through 7. Not all AAF players, but some of the AAF players. No fake Le'Veon Bell. No overinflated rookies. No overinflated ratings. All ratings are based on PFF and NFL.com grades. And then the realistic equipment overhaul is coming later on. It's going to be a total equipment overhaul for the entire roster, done by Walking Visions himself. He prides himself on having a lot of detail to it. It's going to be jersey numbers. It's going to be realistic equipment. Any players that don't have faces, he's going to match up faces for them and give them a realistic looking face. And this is going to be one of the best looking, most polished rosters that's out there. Actually, it's going to be the best roster that's out there. I know that there's guys out there like that franchise guy and guys like that put out rosters. It's going to be better than those because of the amount of detail that's put into it. I've already put in a couple days worth of hours into the roster. I've put over 24 hours into this roster just making the rookies and everything alone. Adjusting overalls takes multiple hours on end, so there's a lot of time that has been put into this roster so far. Oh, and then the one other thing that I wanted to comment on that this game doesn't give players credit for is kickers and punters. We re-ranked all the kickers and punters and rated them based on, how well they have done, their career performance and everything like that. So you'll see guys let's see if we can go through and find kickers that have been in the league for a while that have gotten buffed. Like guys like Robbie Gould, we got him up to an 85 because he's been a consistent kicker, been in the league for quite a long time, and deserves a higher rating. If we go to the Ravens, for example, Justin Tucker, the best kicker in the league, he got the 92 rating because he's been in the league, been one of the best kickers, if not the best kicker, for a long time, and Madden gives him like an 82 rating? Like, come on. The best player at other positions are in the 90s. The best player at a kicker's position should still be in a 90. And then if you look at the Rams, Greg Zuerlein is close behind. And then the best punter, Johnny Hecker, at a 93. So we re-ranked and gave punters and kickers a little bit of respect in this roster. So you're going to see a clear difference between those really good kickers and young, inexperienced kickers that don't necessarily exceed well. So like Chris Boswell, for example, he's only a 75. Even though he's had some good seasons, he really dropped off in recent years. So you're going to notice a difference between him and a difference between Justin Tucker. So certainly keep that in mind whenever you're looking at this roster. Please go ahead and give this roster a download. Give it a like. Feedback down below if you have any questions on the roster, if you want me to edit anything on the roster, bring anything to my attention, let me know. Feel free to message me on PSN at NM54GoldOps. I'm happy to continue to work on this roster and do anything I can, but I want you guys to check out this roster. I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can download it at. All you have to do whenever you get onto the game, you go over to this little cog button, you go down to share and manage, and then you're going to go to download community files. You're going to go over one tab to the roster, and I believe you can search by my username. So if you went to search, press triangle, search for online ID, all you have to do is type in NM54GoldOps, and you'll be able to come up with my roster. And I'll show you the details over here one more time so you can see exactly what it looks like and what the description looks like. So Madden 20 real ratings. It's going to be, right now it only has 2 likes and 1 dislike, 284 downloads, latest uploaded 5/7/19, and I keep re-uploading it all the time, so it should be one of the latest ones out there if you search by date. But other than that, read the description. Like I said, realistic Madden 20 based on PFF and NFL.com ratings. Also based on some of the projected Madden 20 ratings that we've seen online. Realistic projected positions. That's one thing that I didn't mention already in this video, is that I want you guys to keep in mind that some of the rookies and some of the players are going to be out of position from what they're listed whenever they're drafted, because that's the way teams do things, is whenever teams draft players, they're going to move players to the position that they need. So a lot of the teams, this is most prudent in terms of offensive linemen. A lot of teams have holes at like left guard and right guard, and they draft tackles that they end up moving to the guard spot. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. We moved players to the positions that they fit in order to make things a little bit easier for you guys, so you can just hop into a franchise and start playing. Once you've traded Bell over to the correct team, you'll be able to start jumping in real quick, and all the players will be at the correct positions. And a lot of these players have even said, and teams have come out and said, they plan on playing players at different positions than they were drafted at. And a lot of that applies to offensive linemen. There are a lot of players in the league already that the team puts at the wrong positions. So Chandler Jones is a big one, where they put him at outside linebacker, but he's truly an edge rusher. And in their scheme, he's a defensive end, so we move him to defensive end. And then a guy like I'm trying to remember his name, the outside linebacker for the Falcons, that they put at defensive end, we move him to outside linebacker, because why are you going to have 380 overalls stacked up at defensive end and not play any of them at outside linebacker? That's just not how the NFL works. One of them is going to be technically playing the outside linebacker position, and we go through every single roster and make sure that the players are playing a correct position. So that's the roster for you guys. Like I said, all rookies are in, all ratings are fixed. Let me know if there's anything you would like me to adjust. We're going to be coming out with a total equipment overhaul for the entire roster, making every single player look the way that they should in real life. Credit to Walking Visions. Go check out his channel. He's going to be taking on that role now that I've done my end of things. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Hopefully you guys download it. Give me all your feedback. Leave a like on the video if you're excited for this roster. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good one.